Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears go to 2-2 on the season as they beat the Los Angeles Rams at home in Week 4. The Carolina Panthers fell just short to the Cincinnati Bengals and are 1-3 on the season. The Panthers are now flying up to Chicago to take on the Bears in this Week 5 matchup. My name is Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this game, the matchups within the game, and also then to who we're going to be predicting to win this game and why. So before we get into that, we do have a goal of getting to 100 new subscribers during this Week 5 prediction video series. We've been able to meet that goal the past couple of weeks thanks to all of our new members. And so thank you and welcome to anybody that's here for the first time. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to the Tracy Take, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win and why. So, Ryan, I'll say this in the most positive way. I think Caleb Williams probably had his best performance overall as a QB in the league, but still not exactly what you would want overall. But he's still a rookie. He's still kind of learning the league. It's just interesting, though, you go see his performance, then go look at Jaden Daniels' performance as well. I know it's only 4 games into the season, but the Caleb Williams still is definitely figuring out the overall process as well. That being said, though, the Bears team they are able to win games. They've been competitive in, I think, almost all their games overall. Even though I know they barely lost to the Colts, they were competitive in that game. You need to go back and look. They were competitive against the Texans. That's going to be kind of one of the things I bring up when I get to the Panthers here. In this matchup overall. But moving to the Panthers real quickly, definitely the change to Andy Dalton has improved this offense overall, putting up a lot more points, just being a lot more productive on the offensive side of the ball. And so kind of want to throw it over to you here. Now that the regular season, preseason, as we call it here as the end of September through 4 weeks is done, what's your kind of overall grade and thought on both the Panthers and Bears team at this point in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the Bears. I think they're kind of where we expected. We expected Caleb Williams to have some hiccups, maybe not quite this much, but it is a big adjustment going from college football, especially like Pac-12, USC, where like very little defense is really played, to Chicago, where you're going up against like some of the best defenses in the league in that NFC North and whatnot. So it's been definitely had some speed bumps, but you can kind of see the progress going. He was pretty efficient, 17-23 for like 158 yards. But with that being said, I believe he had like 5 sacks for 20 something yards. 3 sacks for 24 yards. And so like still you want to see maybe 3 sacks for 10 yards or something like that, where he's not,
or no sacks. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Where he's not like scrambling as much. Sorry, I had like a hiccup that was stuck. But maybe where he's not scrambling as much to the detriment of the team, and just learning to play a little bit more like in phase of the offense. But all in all, I think it's been a promising start to his career. This Bears defense has been really impressive. Kept them in and won them. I know definitely the Tennessee game. And the game today, I think they did a good job as well. And he's leaned heavily on the running game and kind of turned the page to Carolina. I'm going to say that the start of this season has been an F for them. Well, they're 1-3. We didn't expect them to be good, but they benched Bryce Young, and whether you believe that was the right decision or not, that was a former first overall pick. Like, that is supposed to be your franchise guy, and 2 games into his second season, he gets benched. That to me, I think, is just
it's a
big blow to his confidence. It's tough to see. Like, the NFL's hard, and like quarterbacks bust at a higher rate than any other position.
Yeah,
but it's second year in, it just doesn't feel like he's getting quite the chance to prove he's the guy. And I know that the tape in the first couple of weeks was pretty bad. But again, that's just tough. And they have a lot of injuries. They traded Brian Burns in the offseason, so this defense isn't doing nearly what it could have been or did last year. And so it's a tough time to be a Panthers fan at the moment.
Well, it's for Bryce Young, yeah, it definitely bust cards way too early to talk about. Well, let's not wait and see. Maybe it's a transitional period. Dave Canales has no allegiance to him. If
I agree.
Being completely honest, he's going to do what he thinks is best for the team to win games. And for being honest, moving Andy Dalton has over these past 2 games has proven to be the positive decision overall. And so they great performance against the Raiders. One that nobody expected.
I wasn't saying that Bryce Young was a bust already. I was just saying that it's a tough scene to move on from, not just move on from, but bench a first overall pick, second year of the season.
But with this Andy Dalton-led offense, though, definitely has been more explosive. It's like we've gone from passing yard-wise, we've gone from 135 to 69 passing yards in the first 2 weeks to 306 and then 220. So already a massive improvement overall. I think the thing to me, when I look at this Panthers team, also I look at the rushing yards as well. And to be fair, they did go up against the Saints and the Chargers in the first 2 games, so those are going to be better rushing defenses just in general anyways. But they only had 58-90 rushing yards versus them, then versus the Raiders and the Bengals. They went 131 and 155. I think one of the biggest things also, too, is just coming from the veteran experience of Andy Dalton, is just knowing the blocking assignments, okay, reading the defenses, okay, this is what it's showing me. Let's flip the run play. Let's run to the other side as well. And like calling the play, communicating to the offensive line, picking up run blocks as well. And that's just where I think that Bryce Young maybe has struggled, that Andy Dalton provides to this offense, because they do have weapons here. Adam Thielen is on IR, but himself, Deontay Johnson had a good game. Xavier Leggett has definitely benefited from the switch. Jonathan Mingo has another young guy that they drafted last year from Ole Miss. So they have some talent on this receiving room as well. Not to mention, too, Jatavian Sanders, who they drafted as well. So curious to see how he keeps on developing. And Chuba Hubbard has been there for a long time, and he had a 100-yard rushing game today. They have skill position player talent, and that's why I think that transition is just being the quarterback, just being the point guard, knowing where everybody needs to be and how to set your offense up for success. I think that's just kind of where we've seen that change and that development. And I'm curious to see how this keeps on going, if this makes them more competitive. I'll say, as a Falcons fan, as you can tell, I want to go up against Bryce Young now. I don't want to go up against Andy Dalton, if we're being completely honest. And so that's going to be interesting coming into this game here because the Bears offense has struggled. The Panthers defense has struggled. Who's going to win that matchup? Because I think the Panthers offense and the Bears defense, I think they're both going to get their licks in. I think the Panthers are going to be able to now go put up 20, 24 points. But that seems to be kind of the Bears' heel, so to say, is that 20 to 24 point mark. I know they put up 24 today. I don't think they've got anything higher than that. They put up 24 against Tennessee, but that was with an interception return for a touchdown.
And a block punt for a touchdown.
And a block punt for a touchdown. So only 10 offensive points. So have to kind of go and see is like, can the Bears maybe exploit some of this Panthers defense that is without Brian Burns, that is having some and still having trouble as well. You know, like maybe they're on the field a little bit less now that the Panthers offense is able to kind of hold the ball longer and go on some longer drives. But they're still averaging a lot of yards per game. I think if I look at this overall defensively, 27th overall in yards allowed, 30th in rushing yards allowed. Lucky for them, the Bears can't really run the ball. Outside of DeAndre Swift had a 36-yard rushing touchdown today. Outside of that, they didn't really have too much of a great performance overall. If you take away those 36 yards, they had 27 carries on just less than 100 yards, taking away that 36-yard rushing touchdown. And so a little bit less than 4 yards per carry. They had their best rushing performance today, by the way, by a long shot. Chicago did. So by about 50 yards. So that's just going to be the matchup. Is can this Bears offense keep improving? Can Caleb Williams keep improving? Can they rise to the occasion? Can the Panthers defense hang on? Because I do think the Panthers offense is significantly more improved to having Andy Dalton at the helm. And so that to me, I know it's just a giant X factor, not really too much other like big specifics, but Panthers defense is a weakness and a liability. Caleb Williams and this offense, as explosive as they can be, especially on paper, definitely still a liability on this team's overall success moving the ball down the field. So who's going to win that matchup? That's going to be the key to this game. Yeah.
So let's get into predictions here. I'll kick it off. I'm going to go with Chicago. I think they're just the better overall team. The weapons are more proven, in my opinion, and I think they're going to be a little too much for Carolina to have to keep up with. I'm going to say 24-20 in a close one.
24-20. I'll disagree with you here. I'm going to go with Carolina. I know it's at home, and Chicago is undefeated at home, but I think that Panthers played well today. It was against a Bengals defense who just gave up a bunch of points to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, and so they were still able to get their own as well. I thought Andy Dalton looked professional. I thought they were able to run the ball well. I said that they were definitely able to run the ball well, 155 total rushing yards in general. And if I go look at this Bears defense, if there is a weakness, they are 17th overall in rushing yards allowed. So I think it's going to be a very run-heavy focused game for the team. So if they can establish that run, then it's going to open things up for Deontay Johnson and Xavier Leggett as well. Or I think it's Leggett. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But so I'm going to go with actually Carolina here. I'm going to disagree with you. I think Caleb Williams is going to have a tough game and maybe make a couple of unnecessary mistakes.
Interesting. I think it'll be a close one. I think either team could come out ahead. I just think the Bears maybe have a little bit more going for them at this point.
I just don't think the Bears can blow them out.
I don't think the Bears can blow them out.
This is going to be clipped, and they're going to go win 42-7.
Yeah.
But I just don't think they can go and blow them out. While the Panthers, though, as we've seen now, it's just 2 weeks, very, very small sample size, but they can – Andy Dalton can go and give them some explosive tendencies as well. And there's enough talent now that we've seen, especially to getting a guy like Xavier Leggett. I think, and Deontay Johnson also, who they traded for. I think they can kind of finagle things a little bit more potentially than Caleb Williams has right now in the moment. I still think he's learning. I still think he's going through that learning curve.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. And that's the risk I think you take anytime you play a rookie quarterback. Is there's going to be things that they just haven't seen on a field. So let's go ahead. We'll wrap it up here. We actually disagree on this one. Go ahead and leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Carolina Panthers? Will it be the Chicago Bears? While you're down there, go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. And that we'll see you guys next time.